There is no way on how to answer this question easy and fast. We have to talk a little bit, and I will try to give you different perspectives, and we are going to see it with different lenses so we can perceive different things. Look, the word religion means that we had already been connected to something, and now that we are disconnected to this something, we need to reconnect. We need to have an encounter with this force, with this thing, with this something. And this something is basically God himself or itself. So religion by definition means that through it we are going to achieve a certain level of consciousness, and we are going to enter in a different realm, the heavens, or the realm of kingship, or the king, or God, or the source, or anything you want to say about. But when we know the Anunnaki topic or the Anunnaki subject, it is a very breaking point. This is because the term Anunna is a Sumerian term, and the term Anunnaki is a Akkadian term. The term doesn't matter for which civilization, from which ancient civilization it comes. The fact is that the first humans in human history worshipped many gods. There was a polytheistic religion, and they worshipped those gods that we call Anunna for Sumerians or Anunnaki for Akkadians. But when we today look to this past and try to understand this past, we have a word to translate to this. We have the word alien race. We have this extraterrestrial understanding, so we can see them as extraterrestrials. And we just can't understand the points and connecting the different dots to understand how can a creator of all, a God that we really feel when we go to a place like a church or a temple and try to connect ourselves with some kind of divinity. And by myself and by my own experience, I think that in those places, and not just in those places, we can do this here, or even using this Tibetan ball here. Through different things, we can perceive the energy of God as a... Oh my God. We almost had an accident here, but I think it's all safe now. Through different ideas, we can perceive, understand, and feel God. And how can we understand these differences, and how can we put the Anunnaki understanding on this box with God and religions? See, as I said, Sumer is the first civilization in the history of humankind, or humanity. And there are some people that comes to this channel and say that it is the Indus Valley civilization, or even Göbekli Tepe or Karahan Tepe, but on Turkey. But we have to understand that by civilization, scientists and science or traditional history understand that point when humans go to nomadic, when humans started the agriculture and the livestock and abandon that nomadic style of life. So we now have how to construct cities, and it is where it all began. And this place where it all began is Sumer, and it all things that we can think of began there. We have schools, we have the agriculture and livestock, we have social organization, we have commerce, we have writing, the Sumerian or the Mesopotamian tablets, we have astronomy, we have astrology, we have medicine, we have even philosophy. And of course, we have mythology, and we have stories and histories there, and we have everything. Every single thing. Of course, that technology has advanced through time, but when we look to the structure of our society today, we can see that everything started at that point. And that civilization said that they had all these inventions and understanding through the gods that came from the heavens and tell them how to construct things and how to structure a society. And it's not just so simple. We have those pyramidal structures called ziggurat, and it was believed that the god was living inside that ziggurat, and a class of priests, or a selected class of people, the king and the priests, could go upstairs on that place, that temple, the ziggurat, and enter in the contact with that god for that city. Because in Ur, we have one Anunnaki, or one god, and from another city like Sipar or Eridu, we have another Anunnaki or another entities. On Sipar, we have Enlil. In Ur, we have the moon god, Nana, Sin, or Nanar. And from Eridu, we have Enki. So it existed different gods. Are they real? Well, I believe that they are real, that they were here in bone and flesh, and that they really existed, and that they were here on our ancient past. But for traditional science, there is no certainty that those gods were from flesh and blood. Actually, there is a certainty that they were not real. For traditional science and for traditional history, there is no such a thing as god or goddesses, or gods in plural, becoming real. There is no such a thing. So when we observe these differences, we can see that there is different perspectives and different lenses in which we can observe these facts. One thing is that human beings of that time could imagine things. Okay, we are just going to see about this. Don't get out this video and just think and just walk through this path together. If humans of that time imagined those gods and created those stories that they registered in the Mesopotamian tablets, how can they be created by nothing? How did civilization start? How could they invented a way to register information, and how they created the way of life of that time that it continues today? So this is what traditional history and traditional science believes, that humans of that time believed that stories. This is one of the things that I think that I can say and affirm my belief, that they are real beings. And if they are real beings, we can observe this through a different perspective and through a different lens. We do not think anymore that humans created those stories, but we can understand that those gods were here, and that, I don't know if all of them, but some of that stories were real. And understanding that those beings were here in ancient times, those beings have developed civilization and have grown together with the civilization. Humans are born and die, and there is their offspring. And those gods does not die, at least for the understanding of that people. And we can see that something very strange and maybe very dark had happened in our ancient past. Because we can observe different religions. We can observe as a way of thinking. At least for that way of thinking, we can understand that the first religion is Judaism. And Judaism worshipped one God called Yahweh. But who is Yahweh? When we look to ancient history, we can understand that Yahweh was one God among different other gods worshipped on those regions. And so there is no reason to understand and believe that this God is the one single entity and the all-powerful God. There is no way to think that these gods that have been killing people in almost all pages of Bible or the Torah was the real God. There is no way to think about that. If you use logic, reason, and perspective. Sometime later, it came Jesus Christ, and then a new religion was founded using some kind of things that comes from Judaism. And Judaism was using some kind of things that came from Zoroastrianism on ancient, in the region that today is Iran, on ancient Persia. And Persia was using some kind of things that came before. And we are going deeper on this, we are going to find the Anunnaki gods. This is the thing. And so, as I was saying, then came the figure of Jesus Christ. First, I have to say, for me, it is more important the words and the lessons that Jesus Christ said to that people, and the lessons of life that we can understand today than the name of Christ. But I have to say that I do believe in Jesus Christ. I believe that Jesus Christ came. I believe that he existed, and that's it. I do not believe that Christians were right. I do not believe that our salvation is in the hands of Jesus Christ. I believe that our salvation is in our hands. And this is more close to a Gnostic way of belief, or to a Gnostic understanding of life. But Christians, Muslims, Jewish people, or anyone are very welcome to this channel. I do not state that I have the ultimate truth and they are all wrong. No, this is not the case for this channel. I'm not here to tell you in what to believe. I'm not here to tell you that this thing is a lie. No, I'm not. That's why this channel has mystery in its name, because the thing is mystery, is a mystery. It's not the truth. I'm not here to tell you the truth, but I'm here to bring you knowledge and information. I'm here to bring you the information that I could understand on my journey trying to understand the truth. And I think that we are never find the real and the ultimate truth here on this planet. And I will tell you this very soon in this video when we are going more close to the end of this video. So sometimes later, and I have to say that Jesus Christ didn't came here to this planet to found a new religion, to say that now this is my religion. No, Jesus came and talked about love. He talked about a father, and the term that he used to call his father, it wasn't Yahweh. It has to be said. It was a Greek term. Jesus used two different terms for this. I have a video here, and I will put the card here or here. I don't know in which part. And I will put in the end of this video a way for you to go there and watch it. Okay, another thing that I have to say is that in the future I'm going to to do one of those documentaries with a lot of information about Jesus Christ and the Anunnaki, trying to understand who is the real father of Jesus. Not the father that he was talking about, but Christ, or Jesus, not exactly Christ, but Jesus was born by a virgin. So who is his father? Was he son of one of the Anunnaki? Which of one? So I am going to do a documentary about this. Okay, I was talking about religion. So let's back. So after Jesus Christ came and the Christianity had begun, we have another monotheistic religion, the Islam. I do not have many information about the Quran, but I know that Allah is a moon god. Actually, for Muslims, Allah is the all-powerful God, but he is identified with the moon. For Muslims, Allah is the most powerful, and it is not a moon god. He is the God, the all-powerful one, the merciful. But when we look to history, we understand that in those regions, there was a Anunnaki god called Nana or Nanar or Sin that was worshipped in the city of Ur, the same city where Abraham was born. And look, there is a great problem about the offspring of Abraham. And that problem with the offspring of Abraham, we can see the war coming today about the same problem. I will not talk about this. I will not enter on this topic. I think that there is no more to say about this here. Let's back to religion itself. I think that there is no way of these three monotheistic religions being true at the same time. At least one of them has to be the no truth, has to be wrong. Which of them? I don't know. You can put here on the comment section what you think about. But I think that there is no chance on how those three different religions being correct at the same time. That being said, I know that there is more religions and not just those three monotheistic religions. There is another religions, and I like too much Buddhism and the Buddhistic teachings. That makes me feel good about. And see, Buddhism, there is no God. There is no belief in God. See how those things are very, very strange, and we have to think about. It looks for me that in our ancient past, real beings interpreted as gods was here. And they taught us a lot of things. And they probably have some divergences, and probably they had some wars. And probably they left. At least that's one of the things that I tend to think. That the Anunnaki were no more here. And they left Earth. And if they left, will they come back? And I think yes. We can see the prophecies around the world. Zecharia Sitchin has one of his books called The End of Days. And it is here behind me. And in this book, he says some things that he believes about the Armageddon, about the place called Armageddon. Okay, I'm going to see after the making of this video. I'm going to make one video about the return of the Anunnaki. It is a work of fiction made by me, and I hope you enjoy it. The script is already written, but now I'm working alone on this channel, so I can't do all things at the same time because I can't go crazy, and I don't think that is a good idea. Okay, you can see behind me here there is two books. The first, it is called Maya, the Code of Life, and the second, it is called Anunnaki, Those two books was written by me. The first I published in Portuguese in 2018, and the second in 2018, and the other on 2021. So the first, called Maya, the Code of Life, will be published in English very, very soon, and I will put here in the description and in other places so you can go and check my book. This book is all about the Anunnaki without saying the word Anunnaki, because there is a study about religion on that book and about the connection that we can have, and if I can give you a spoiler about, I conclude on that book that the code of life is actually Maya, illusion, and we are probably living in a simulation, in a universe that could be simulated. Okay, that being said, I want just to return to the topic of this video and tell you that for me, all those religions that we know, or at least almost all of them, almost all religions that we have today in the world, is a religion created by the Anunnaki. Is a religion that we have to worship some kind of divinity and to give this divinity a lot of things, or to live with fear of this divinity, and probably on that kind of thinking, the possibility of salvation is no more in our hands. For me, religion is a way to be in contact with the source, be in contact with the real God. And the real God, the real source for me, it is one that I can remember the ideas of Plato, the ideas of illusion, and the ideas of Hermeticism. Because if we understand that the Creator can't be achieved in the material world, but can be perceived through the material world and through the spiritualistic experiences and meditative states and other kind of that, we can understand that we can have contact with this source by using our own self and concentrating to our own spirituality. I think that my greatest mission here on this channel is not just to have fun in this journey with you, talking and thinking about the Anunnaki and making these videos that I like so much to make and edit, and it is a real journey for me to be here editing these videos, but I think that not just having fun, my mission here is to remember you that we can even go to that kind of sacred places like churches or temples, but we have to remember our true essence, and our true essence lives inside of us. We are gods, as Jesus said. And I believe that we have to not just remember those words, but we have to remember in a way of life that we can live these words, not just say it. Okay, I think I'm done here. I think that we have talked a lot about this topic. I know that some people doesn't like to watching me talking, and another people really loves to see me here talking about those topics. Sometimes I will appear here, and another times it will be the AI voice doing those videos. It is not automated. No, I do everything. I use the Adobe Premiere Pro here, and I edit all videos. I created all images using AI, and of course, I do everything on those videos. There was a time in which I have some people editing with me, and now it's just me on this channel. So sometimes some people can send me some mails, and I really take some time to answer, because it is all here made by me. and there's a lot of things to do. I know that the people that comes to this channel are not people that just want to have fun and play a video and okay. No, people that comes to this channel, it's a kind of people that likes to study these topics. It's a kind of people that wants to know the truth, and it's a kind of people that will not be fed with some information just thrown out here in the world. So I have to study a lot about these topics before putting my face here or putting some kind of video here. Okay, for those who don't know me, my name is Lucas and I am a Brazilian librarian, and I like a lot of this stuff, and I use the AI voice, so you will not listen my accent narrating the videos. Hope you like it, and remember to hit the like button, share it with your friends and family, and if you think this is a good video or good information, choose one of the other videos that appear here to you, and remember to subscribe to the channel if you are not. See you in the next video.